Welcome, everybody. Mark Drumheller, Dave Gleckner here for the Sharp app, going over some Week 7 USFL bets. We're going to go through each game here, 4 games this weekend, this Memorial Day weekend. Really excited about how the league's unfolding. Very competitive. Early in the season, I thought it would be kind of the tale of the haves and the have-nots, but we're seeing the gaps close between the teams, and it's making, this season a lot of fun, Dave.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, when you just look at the one division, 3 teams at 4-2, real competitive, and someone leading the division at 3-3 and other. It's been kind of what they wanted, right? And everybody wants a good competitive. Everybody's in every game, and you see, some teams that we thought didn't have a prayer now winning games, and so it's been a very good start for what the USFL is hoping to be a very good finish too.
Yeah, it's almost been the tale of 2 seasons already. Like we're 6 weeks in, and it feels like the first 3 weeks have been so much different than the last 3 weeks. You look at a team like New Orleans, won 4 straight and then dropped their next 2. Everybody thought that they were kind of running away with everything. And a team like Memphis dropped their first 3, wins their next 3. But we are seeing everybody alive in the standings. That's the one thing that sticks out to me. When you look at the division leaders, Philadelphia 3-3, and then you talked about the log jam over in the South Division with 3, 4-2 teams. But each team, even the last place team in each division, only 1 game out of first place. So that makes these games very important here going forward in the last 3 weeks. So really excited to see how it turns out. Me personally, I've been focusing more on totals just because of, the variance with these teams. And I've kind of had a hard time putting my pulse on, which teams are going to be the strongest from week to week. But I've been having a lot of success with the totals.
Yeah, it seems like I've been following and you've been hitting there. It's just very hard to nail down anything. I mean, you get some teams, like you said, New Orleans looking great and then drop, and Pittsburgh, another team that's been coming back and playing a lot tougher. It's really been hard to nail down some of these games. So, but I think we got a good beat now that we've seen 6 weeks. We've seen the ebbs and flows, and you're starting to get a lot data and a little more confidence, I think, going into this week.
100%. And the key about this week is we're seeing this is the second time that people are seeing these teams. All these matchups happened in week 3. So it's the second time around for each of these teams. So let's get into the games. We're going to start with what I think is the marquee game of the weekend, Dave. It's the first one, Saturday, 4 o'clock. It goes off. Birmingham Stallions, last year's champions, against the New Orleans Breakers. I mentioned that these teams played in week 3. Was a dominating performance by the Breakers. Really fun game, 45-31. New Orleans won. It was a game that I bet live at halftime. New Orleans was averaging, I think it was 10.3 yards per play in the first half. The teams were going back and forth trading touchdowns, and New Orleans was able to kind of pull away there. So, but there was a very high scoring game, and New Orleans offense really got off to a strong start this season, but they've tapered off the past couple weeks, right? So, only 10 points, a game in the past 2 weeks. They dropped both of those games. So, I think the key to handicapping this one from a side and a total perspective, New Orleans 1.5-point dogs. We got a total at 45.5. And I think that it comes down to whether you believe that this Breakers offense can get back on track.
I do believe it can. Part of it is because Birmingham's resistance is a little bit weak, right? But it's funny looking at the total 45.5, where you had New Orleans score 45 alone in the first matchup. They almost can cover this number on their own. I mean, the number looks juicy enough for me to lean over, but I tell you the truth. I mean, this is a really tough spot to handicap the game, because obviously Alex McGough really starting to turn it on again. And we love him from Birmingham. I just love the way he plays the game. Kind of reminds me a little bit of DiNucci from the XFL, just because he's trying to sling it right now. I know
and he has that mobility too.
He does,
like DiNucci.
Yeah, he does. And you look, DiNucci got a spot with Denver. I don't think he'll hold it. We know what DiNucci is. He can't hold on to the football, but hey, he got a spot, and you never know what Alex is going to do here. So I think you got that. But like you said, the struggling New Orleans offense, I think this is a good wake-up call. Philadelphia shut them down last week, but I think getting back into the swing of things, I think they'll get back on the offensive track here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Maybe not to the extent to the success that they had in the first matchup, but I do think that New Orleans, like, this is the remedy for them, right? They need to get right. Now they're getting a Birmingham defense that isn't that strong. Even in their win against Michigan, worst offense in the USFL. They still allowed 5.2 yards per play in that game to Michigan's offense, which is not very good at all. So I think New Orleans can get back on track here. I would probably lean towards them, on the side. But I do like the over. I think I didn't bet it, but if I was going to definitely place a bet on this one, I would bet the over. Like I said, both these teams can score, and I think that the Birmingham's defense is going to allow New Orleans to score. So if they can get to mid 20s, I think you'll see both teams around low 30s, mid 20s. I think this one goes over.
Yeah, I agree. And I lean towards New Orleans as well. And I'm going to bet the game with New Orleans. I'd like to get it up to 2. It is down to 1.5. So I'll probably wait a little bit here because I don't see it getting worse. I don't see this thing flipping to New Orleans getting favored. So I'm going to play it out, see if I can hold out for a 2, 2.5. If not, I'm comfortable at 1.5. So I think they're going to win the game outright.
Absolutely love it. The Breakers, man. I'll tell you, if they got such a fun offense. They could really win this thing. But let's go on to the second game. Our Philadelphia Stars, right? We love our Stars, but been a little bit of a rough year for them. But they're 3-3. They find themselves on top of the North Division. They're taking on the Pittsburgh Maulers, one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
They played earlier this year again in Week 3. Pittsburgh won that game 21-13, 34 total points. In this game, we're seeing Philadelphia slight underdog plus 1.5. Total 39.5. And I think the best bet in the USFL has been these Pittsburgh unders. I've been hitting them every week. 5-1 on the season, playing Pittsburgh unders. And I played this one again. I could wait to pounce on it. The book's catching up a little bit. They finally brought these totals down to under 40, but nowhere near close enough. I actually got it a worse number. I got it at 39. Had no problem playing it. Like I said, last time these two teams played, only 34 total points. The Philadelphia Stars red zone offense has been atrocious. Last week, they were 0 for 3 in the red zone. They ended up kicking 3 field goals in the 16-10 win over New Orleans. And the week before that, they beat the Generals in what I think was the most bizarre game I've ever seen in my life. They win 24-21 with 8 field goals. Yep. Couldn't score a touchdown the entire game. Still end up winning because the Generals were turning the ball over all over the place. But from a side perspective, I might lean Pittsburgh here. I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to run the football on Philadelphia. And I think with Pittsburgh's offense, when they can control the tempo by running the football, I think they have a lot of success. But I didn't bet the side. I think the best play is the under, is the total. I jumped all over it, and I think even at 39.5, we're getting a steal here. All Pittsburgh's games, their combined to average total is 31.6 on the season. Only 2 games this year went over 34 combined points. So I think it's definitely a solid play here on the under.
Yeah, I lean that way as well. It just sometimes looks too good to be true.
Every week when this Pittsburgh unders come up, I'm like, am I going to get away with this again? And
I'm staring at why 39. Like why 39.5, why 40, wherever we saw it open and landed. Like this thing should be 30. Like it should be like Browns Jets Thursday night. Like it just, I don't know. The number scares me a little bit, so I'm going to lean towards playing the game more. And you're right about Philadelphia's offense. I mean, they haven't scored an offensive touchdown in 2 weeks. And even in that game against Pittsburgh that they lost, I think they got down in the red zone like 4 times and didn't score. They are really – it's a bad offense, especially converting the red zone. But they're not afraid to settle for field goals. And when they lost the first game to Pittsburgh, it was 3 offensive turnovers, I think, in the red zone that really put them on the wrong side of the scoreboard. I have a feeling last week's win and the week before that is going to build some momentum. And then looking at it, I think didn't Pittsburgh lose like 22-0 last week? If I'm
really
right,
struggled against Memphis.
Turned
the ball over a ton.
Yeah, so you got one team, kind of on the way down. Other team, skinning by a couple wins by the skin of their teeth, as they say. I'm going to lean towards Philly in this one. It is a pick 'em in most places. And a little revenge factor with the 21-13 loss.
I like it. The Stars, man. You know me, I love the Stars. So I hope they are able to pull it off. This Pittsburgh team's tough though. A lot of fun, man. Great defense. They just want to run the football. We could see a lot of field goals in this one. Could be a lot of turnovers. Cook is whipping it around. And Pittsburgh's quarterback Troy Williams just not very good.
No.
So it'll definitely be an interesting game that way. But I love the under.
They should
You're
trade
on
for
the
someone
Stars.
mid-season, right?
I know.
Isn't that a rule?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to
Or
do
if
that?
it was the XFL, they would just take a great quarterback from another team and give it to them for absolutely free. They wouldn't have to pay anything. So,
I wanted to get you started. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I could do a whole dissertation, League of Handouts, the XFL. But no, sticking with the USFL, let's go to Houston and Memphis. This game, a lot of fun. I mean, I think when you look at these two teams, Houston's a team I think can go all the way. I really like them. They're playing Memphis. Memphis, tale of two seasons. Started off 0-3. Defense couldn't stop anybody. Last 3 weeks, right? They're getting a ton of turnovers on the defensive end, and they're winning football games because of it. Also, quarterback Cole Kelly has been kind of the catalyst. They made the switch to him the last time these two teams played. And Memphis ended up losing in the last minute. Kenji Bahar drove down the field with a late touchdown. Houston ended up winning that game 30-26. That was Memphis's third loss, and that really sparked the turnaround for them. They went on to win the next 3 games. So now they're sitting at 3-3. Houston's sitting at 4-2. But most importantly, when running back Mark Thompson plays, Houston's 4-0 in the season. And I think that's going to continue. I did not bet the side. I did take a money line parlay with Houston and New Jersey. We'll talk about that game in a bit at plus 130. If this thing gets down to under a field goal, though, I probably will jump on Houston as the side as well. What's your thoughts on this one, Dave?
Yeah, top 4. I mean, they did meet. They were both 0-2 when they first met earlier this season, and the Gamblers pulled it out last 30-second touchdown.
Yeah, it was a wild game. They were going back and forth.
Yeah.
Houston was up a lot, and then Memphis came roaring back, completed the comeback, got the lead. It was 26-23, I want to say, and then there was 2 minutes left, and then Houston drove down and scored with 18 seconds left in the game, and then that was
I kind of remember. And then right now you got Houston 4-game winning streak. I think Memphis on a 3-gamer, right? And that was all after they were both 0-2. So really. These two teams are just playing very good football in the USFL right now, and it's a huge matchup. But like you said, there's a few things going on here. I think Houston's defense is starting to show up. Big win last week, holding New Jersey to 10 points. I think I lean towards the Gamblers. I think they're tough right now. They're playing hard. And like you said, I think if you look at all the teams in the USFL, I probably have the best feeling with Houston to win it all right now.
Mm-hmm. I do too. I think that they're my team that I would pick. I actually bet them at plus 550, I want to say, right around that range. I have some stars that I took in the beginning of the year from a futures perspective, but I did hop on Houston earlier this week. I do think they're the best team, in the whole thing.
I just think they play both sides really well.
Yep. Now, I think New Orleans real tough too, and I think there's a lot of teams kind of at the top there where it is kind of crowded and it is tough. And that's why you're getting pretty good odds, with those teams. But I think Houston, I think this was kind of the entry point to get in on Houston because they win this game, then they go to 5-2. You're going to see those odds kind of shorten up. They'll probably surpass whoever loses out of that Birmingham, New Orleans game. So I like the Gamblers here, man. I think Bahar's been good. He's, listen, some interceptions. He's got 6 picks on the year, but he tightened things up against the Generals last week. No interceptions, played clean football coming back off the injury. Like I said, when Mark Thompson's been healthy, they're undefeated, 4-0 in the season. So, and when I look at Memphis, yes, Cole Kelly's been an upgraded quarterback, and it shows. They won 3 straight games. They're 3-1 with him as the starter, but they're doing it with a lot of turnovers on defense. And I don't know if when you start playing the really good teams in this league, I don't know if you can count on that. So I think that's going to be the difference here. I don't think Memphis gets the turnovers. I think Houston gets the win, but not laying over field goal. I'm going to wait and see if it falls under. Hopefully, if not, I'm just going to stay with the money line parlay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm leaning Houston. That 3.5 just tells me something too. They're not scared over there, just making this line. So I'm going to lean Houston as well.
I think so. I think they're the right side. I just want to see if I can get a better number. If it goes to 4, I'll probably lay off it, but I might still lay the 3.5 or the 3. We'll have to see. But
I'll play 4. I won't play 4.5. That's right.
I would love to get 2.5 in this
Oh,
spot.
yeah.
Because it's not like the XFL. Like these dudes kick. I mean, these teams kick extra points.
Yes.
So like 3 is a key number. It's not like, you know. So absolutely love it. All right, let's wrap this up now. Last game, Michigan and New Jersey. Michigan 6.5-point favorites. 39.5 total. This is another total I played. This is the Michigan offense is atrocious. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I played under 40.5. It's down to 30.5, 39.5 now. You look at the Generals, right? They're the number 1 rushing team in the USFL. They're the number 1 rush defense, right? And when you take into consideration Michigan's offense, they have to run the ball with Reggie Corbin. They have to be able to run the ball to get stuff going. They can't just depend on Josh Love's arm. He's been a little bit erratic. He actually got benched when these two teams played in week 3. They brought in Carson Strong because he was completely ineffective. I think he averaged 3.3 yards per pass attempt in that game. So I think the Generals defense is really going to shut them down. The final score of that game was 28-13. So it did go over the total where it's at right now with 41 combined points, but I don't think it happens again. The Michigan offense has gotten worse since that game. They haven't figured out any answers on offense, and the Generals, I think, are going to be content with kind of keeping the ball on the ground, moving the football, and keeping this a low-scoring game. So I like the under. I bet the under. Like I said, I have Jersey is part of the money line parlay. That was how I decided to play it. 6.5 points is a lot to lay with a team that wants to play offense the way the Generals do. But like I said, last time they won by 15 points, right? So it's not out of the question that they can, win with margin here. I just can't trust Michigan. 4 straight losses. I think they're the worst team in the USFL. They've only averaged 10.7 points per game the last 4 weeks in those losses. So I played under. I thought the best way to attack it, and then I attached Jersey to the money line parlay. But Dave, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I would love to know what New Jersey is doing at quarterback. Last time these teams played, they played DeAndre Johnson, and he had a really nice game. And like you said, the margin of victory showed 180 yards passing, 98 rushing. And then they've gone back and forth, and they played Luletta a ton last week. I mean,
I know. Yeah, and that was weird because I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was weird because they said Johnson was hurt because of the turf got in his eyes, like the rubber pellets.
Yeah.
But then he was like on the sidelines, like saying he was fine, and they still didn't let him back in the game. And I don't know. It was just a weird situation. Yeah. I don't know if they're trying to get Luletta some reps, but he stinks. We know what he is.
Yeah. And so I need dual threat. I mean, the one thing Michigan does okay is defense, right? I mean, it's not tremendous, but it's decent. But to get that dual threat, I think Jersey they struggle offensively as well. They need a little bit of dynamic play from the quarterback position. Luletta can't give it to him. So as long as I know Johnson's going, I love this number. Like you said, Michigan probably the worst team in the USFL. And it's funny, they started 2-0, and it was like, whoa.
They look good early.
Okay.
And they got the kid Breland Speaks, he can get after the quarterback. Like they have some players on defense, but that offense is a mess, man. And it looked okay early, but I think it was just a reflection of the teams that they were playing. Like played a couple bad defenses, and all of a sudden looked good. And now they, can't score.
Right, and that's the key to this game, right? It's early offense. If Jersey gets up early, it is over, and they'll win by double digits, no problem. Because Michigan knows the defense knows they're not going to play hard if they're down 10 points. They're done. They know they can't catch up with that offense. So with that said, I think there's a good game plan here. Jersey's been struggling a little, needs to get back on track. The numbers tell me a ton here. Michigan's bad. I mean, both these teams are sitting there not great, but Jersey's better, and I think they'll win this game with margin.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm not betting Michigan without double digits.
2-4, right?
Yeah, they are. I mean, Jersey's been. That's been the biggest surprise is like Jersey was a team 9-1 in the regular season last year. They brought a lot of guys back. They lost some guys on defense, but I think people expected a lot more out of them, and they've been struggling, turning the ball over. Victor in that game, not last week, but the week before, where they lost to the Stars, where the Stars kicked like 1,000 field goals.
That game.
Victor had like 3 fumbles.
Yeah,
it was just a weird game, man. But they've been shooting themselves in the foot. But no better team to get right with
Right.
against than Michigan. So I like the under. I would play Jersey if I had to play side. I have the money line parlay, so I'm probably not going to lay those points. But I think that they're definitely the side.
Nice, nice. So I'm closing out with three. Well, I'll say two faves. I'll pick them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two faves,
There you
two
go.
dogs. I'm at two faves.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, the odds that we're rolling on the screen down here. I'll take New Orleans and Philly in the dog roll, and I'll take Jersey and Houston in the faves.
Sounds good, man. So yeah, like I said, I'm focusing on the totals, but I did have a little money line parlay on there, and I might play some Houston depending on where the number goes. I mean, they're the team I'm probably most confident in right now. Game I'm most excited for is definitely that Birmingham New Orleans. I think the winner, it's really going to kind of push them ahead because, like I said, three weeks left, and then it's playoff time. So in that South Division. Yeah, I mean, they're battling in the other division too, but there's just a bunch of 2 and 4 teams battling to get in the playoffs. That South Division, you got 3 teams: New Orleans, Birmingham, Houston. One of those teams are going to be on the outside looking in, and it's a shame because they're probably one of the best 4 teams. But that's how they're doing the playoffs. That's how it goes. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But it's a big game for Birmingham and New Orleans, so I'll be interested to see the outcome of that. That's probably the one I'll have my eyes on the most, but it's going to be exciting down the stretch, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to that first one, 4:00 Saturday. Perfect time to just sit back and chill out. Maybe get the grill going and watch a little football Memorial Day weekend. Can't wait.
Nothing wrong with that, man. I love spring football's back. But guys, listen, we appreciate you guys hanging out. We will be back next week. Download the Sharp app, hop into Discord. The links are in the description. Good luck on all your bets, and we'll see you guys next week.